Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to make this complementary color collage. For this project you're going to be using strips of colored paper that you can get from magazines or junk mail or whatever you have. And you're going to choose two complementary colors. So if you remember from our color wheel, the complementary colors are opposite each other on the color wheel. So red and green, blue and orange, and yellow and violet. For this project, I think blue and orange is going to be the easiest to find colors for. Red and green are pretty easy as well. Purple and yellow might be a little bit more difficult, but it's just going to depend on what magazines you have. The pages you find don't have to be completely the same color. Okay. So this has a whole bunch of different colors in it, but there's a lot of red, so I can use this for a strip of red. And you can cut out small bits of magazine pages like this. Or, if you're lucky, you can find pages that are almost completely green or completely one color, like the color that you want. And you can cut those pages into strips. If you have one or two pages worth of strips cut, that will be more than enough then for you to use for this project. We need to pick a simple design that we're going to collage. Okay? And draw it on a piece of paper. Okay, this is where you're going to use your 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. It can be a piece of scrap paper, or even a lined or graph paper if that's what you have. But you're going to keep it simple and you're going to keep it big. You can fill the entire 8.5 by 11 page, but I don't want it to be any smaller than a half of that page. Okay, so it should go to all four of these corners. Okay? You can keep it pretty simple. I'm gonna do just a flower shape. You can draw some of the inside details, like I'm using a circle for some structure, but when you're done, you're only going to have an outline of your shape. You are going to be cutting out these shapes, so you might not want your shape to get too thin in places. So I'm going to keep this stem pretty big, and I'm having these leaves go all the way to the edge of where it is so that I keep it pretty big. Once you have your shape, you can, if you want to, use a Sharpie or just a ballpoint pen and go along the outline of your shape so that you know what you're going to be cutting. Okay. And I've decided to freehand mine. If you would like, you can trace yours either on a computer screen, or you can take a lined piece of notebook paper that's a little bit thinner, and if you have a design that you want to trace, you could trace it using the lined notebook paper. Okay? But make sure whatever you're tracing is bigger than a half sheet of paper. Okay? If you chose something really small from inside of a magazine, it would be too small. Okay? Okay. As soon as you're done tracing it, then you can cut out your shape. Now that you have your cutout of a design and your strips of colored paper cut, you can start gluing one of these colors to your design. You can use white glue or a glue stick, but just be careful with the white glue that you only use a little bit at a time. I'm going to use a glue stick for this. It can help to have a piece of scrap paper behind your cutout that you're gluing on, just so if you get some extra glue on the table, you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to glue my strips diagonally, that way it's a little bit easier to get it onto the stem here. Okay. But I'm going to use just a little bit of glue at a time and start gluing my strips, making sure it covers all of my design. Be careful though that you don't glue your design to your table or your scrap piece of paper, so lift it up occasionally so that it doesn't stick. Now that you've covered your whole cutout, actually I realized I missed a spot right there. But once the whole thing is covered, you can flip your design over and you are going to start cutting out cutting off all the extra magazine strips so that all you have left is your completely covered in color design. Okay, now we have our completely covered design and we can start working on a complementary color background. The final step for this project is to make a background for our design that in a complementary color. Okay. I'm going to use a piece of cardboard for my project. You can use just a plain piece of paper, or the back of a cereal box would work really well for this. Okay. But it's best if it is at least close to the same size as an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. So you can line it up and see, and I'm gonna make a line right here and cut off this extra. Now that we have this, I am going to take my design and trace around it just so that I know what area definitely has to be covered, and there might be some area that I can leave blank. Okay, now I can start cutting. I can start gluing down my green pieces of paper, because green is the complementary color to red. Just the same way I did my flower. Okay. Now we can start to put our design back onto our board. I'm going to use some white glue for this. It's a little bit stronger. Then I can flip it over. Make sure all of the cardboard gets covered. Make sure you press down all of the different edges. And there you have it, complimentary collage.